Guys, if I had $1 for every time I've been told that I was wrong about EVs and that hydrogen cars are the future, I mean, even BMW, Honda, and Toyota all believe that that's still the case. Well, if I had $1 for every time everyone had said that to me and said I was wrong, I'd probably be pretty wealthy. But here's the thing. If hydrogen cars are about to take off and hydrogen trucks, then I'm a little baffled. Why exactly are Toyota selling their new version of their hydrogen vehicle, which costs apparently about $80,000 to manufacture? Why are they selling them at a discount of around 65%? As far as I know, the only other manufacturer to do this in the last decade anywhere around the world was Fisker. After they went bankrupt, they're dumping off, basic creditors are dumping off everything they can get from Fisker, selling everything off really cheap. But even then, guys, Fisker EVs that don't have any damage and that are brand new, even Fisker EVs from a bankrupt company are being sold for a 50% discount. But Toyota is offering 65% off their new Mirai fuel cell hydrogen vehicle. And apparently this is the future of the automotive industry. So if you want to get ahead of everyone else and make an amazing chess-like maneuver to get yourself into one of these new age hydrogen vehicles, then clearly right now is the time to do it. But if you want to be able to drive without being stressed, maybe avoid doing it. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I want to say a big thank you to our YouTube members. Guys, there is some kind of crazy stuff going on right now. General Motors and Honda, they've been working together, joint venture, to build hydrogen vehicles, right? They've spent hundreds of millions. BMW still say, the car of the future is not an EV, it's hydrogen. So they're saying around 2038, 2040, that's when the market will turn and all of a sudden we'll all start buying hydrogen-powered vehicles. I've got no idea. BMW, Toyota, none of these car companies who say this will happen, none of them have been able to, explain to journalists or explain to anyone why this would happen. I mean, why would you? If you can get an EV then that has 600 miles of range and can fast charge at 500 kilowatt, I mean, EVs can do that now. So in China now, so the reality is that 2038, EVs will have more than 1,000 miles of range if you want it. You have to charge in 10 minutes. I mean, there'll be charging stations everywhere. And you can charge it at your house using your solar panels if you want to. Why would you go from all that? That sounds unbelievable, right? I mean, those vehicles, in addition to that, will be cheaper than internal combustion to manufacture. Why would you say, oh yeah, great, I'm going to go buy a hydrogen vehicle? I just don't understand the reasoning. And none of these big manufacturers have been able to say why anyone would want to do that. Why move from a great situation to one which is, clearly worse, much worse. Now, speaking of worse, the new Mirai, the price, the discounts, they're so big, guys. I had to read this twice. Now, technically, Toyota are offering 50% discounts off all Mirai models. Half price, right? Motor One's reported on this. Lots of different publications report on this. I'm not making this up. It's true. But in addition to this 50% off, you also get $15,000 of free fuel, which means the model that sells for $50,000. By the way, this model that is now $50,000, it used to be $65,000. So technically, Toyota have discounted a model that will cost $65,000 down to $25,000. $25,000, and you get free fuel, $15,000 of free fuel, meaning it now costs you $10,000. I think that's fair to say, right? $10,000, and you get 0% interest for 5 years. 5 years of 0% interest, meaning the $10,000 you're essentially paying for this car, you really don't have to pay that for 5 years. So that $10,000 will be worth, I don't know, if inflation keeps going up by 3-4% a year, it's going to be worth peanuts in 5 years' time. Toyota is basically giving away this vehicle. Now, this is the new version of this car. As you can see, new design, look at those rear tail lights. I think actually it's a pretty good looking car. I'm a fan of the looks of this car. Everything else, it's a disaster. Speaking of a disaster, Toyota's sales for this car. Now, first of all, before I get to those sales, there is another model, right, that is technically not as cheap. It's a 49.2% discount. That is the limited trim. That is $67,000, and it's been reduced by $33,000. So, yeah, I mean, it's let's round it up by half a percentage point to 50%, right? But keep in mind that model used to cost 80,000. I think it was about 85,000. It's already been discounted. So you're going from, what was it, about this time last year, about $85,000, $80,000, down to 33,000 plus a $15,000 fuel voucher. This is the premium version of this car. $18,000 and free interest, 0% interest. Free, might as well be free, right? For 5 years. Toyota, I've never seen a car being given away like this before. Never. I mean, yeah, there's been bloodbaths in China where companies have given cars away, not given them away, but sold them cheaply to employees. That's a common thing that companies do. When there's an old model, Chinese companies, and even car companies in the West, they do this as well. They'll say to their staff, we'll give you a big discount on the old model, right? This is not an old model. This is the current model. It's the it's the updated new model. 50% discount, $15,000 fuel voucher, 0% interest for 5 years. It might even be 6 years. It's 5 or 6 years, one or the other. Yeah, guys. Actually, I've just checked it. It's 6 years. 6 years of 0% interest. Now, if you still want this car in 6 years, great. That's all you've won, right? But if you don't, who cares? You paid peanuts for it. You paid $10,000, and it's going to be less than that when you think about it. If you pay no interest for 6 years, you paid probably, it's going to work out to be what, about $5,000 or $6,000 if you include inflation. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Toyota are giving away these cars for peanuts, literally peanuts. But people aren't buying them. Now, even with these discounts, I don't believe Toyota sales are likely to go up. And the biggest reason, the fuel price is astronomical. So when you run out of your $15,000 worth of fuel, $15,000 worth of fuel, well, then you're going to realize it's about 6 times more expensive to buy hydrogen than gasoline. 6 times, right? And these vehicles are not like super efficient. I mean, it's not like you're going to use 6 times less fuel, right? It's literally 6 times more expensive to go the same distance versus a similarly sized EV, for example, or a similarly sized petrol car. Actually, 6 times compared to an EV. I mean, you might charge your EV at home. It might be free for you. You might charge your EV when it's off peak. It might be really cheap. So we can't compare it to EVs. We just compare it to gasoline. And yeah, like I said, 6 times more expensive. That's happened recently. But we also know that Shell just shut down all of their hydrogen refueling stations. I believe Shell have 6 of those, had 6 of them in California. They invested, I think it was about $5 or $6 million to build those. Might have been a bit more, but it was about that. They've all shut down. Michelle's just gone, you know what? Sunk cost, no, we just got to get rid of it. Get out of this game. It's pointless. And the remaining fuel stations, I think there's about 49 or 50 left in the United States, but they're all in California. And yeah, there's some significant issues with them. Guys, what a nightmare. You can't drive your car. You really have to be very careful about where you drive it. Now, you hear stories about someone running out of power in their EV, but you know what? How many power points are there in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, in China? There's billions of power points, billions of them. So even if you run out of power, yeah, you can slow charge any EV. Any EV, you can plug it into any power point. It's pretty simple, right? Yeah, it's going to take you a while to get some juice back that way, but you still can do it. And in addition to that, there are fast chargers now popping up all over the place in every country and around the world. There might not be heaps of them, but it's a hell of a lot more than 50 in an entire country of 340 million people. So clearly people have been making some interesting decisions. And you can see why some people are being sucked into buying one of these cars. Now, here's the other thing. Toyota sales have fallen by 70% this year. Their sales last year, well, they already collapsed. And I said hydrogen was dead in the United States. I said there's a cemetery and there's a headstone saying the death of hydrogen in the United States. But the truth is they hadn't quite gone to nothing. Well, this year, Toyota sold 245 cars in the first 6 months. 245. I mean, what, 40 a month or something like that, 10 a week. That's across, all of the US. Obviously, they're only sold in California. But I mean, if you were crazy, you could buy one and ship it anywhere else. Anyhow, this means that sales have actually declined 86% versus 2022. 86%, meaning a lot of people in 2022 bought these cars for essentially, 5 times this price. 5 times more money. Those people, by the way, are furious. If you go into forums, guys, there is court cases going on now. Owners are suing Toyota. They're furious at Toyota. There's been numerous problems. I'm not going to go into all the problems there's been numerous other issues that owners have dealt with and are saying it's completely unfair for them to be in this situation. Here's the thing. BMW, they've revealed their hydrogen car recently. I believe they plan on selling that in the US. In addition, there is actually another hydrogen-powered vehicle you can buy in America. It's a Hyundai Nexo, but sales of the Hyundai Nexo are even less. I think they're about 1 a week. Like I said, guys, hydrogen is dead in passenger cars in the United States, but surprisingly, companies are buying hydrogen-powered trucks in the US. Nikola sales, who would have thought, have recently increased, shocking many analysts, including myself. I still predict Nikola will go bankrupt and that hydrogen-powered trucks will never ever take off. It's going to be a nightmare. I believe that the massive increase in the range in some of the trucks we've seen and the charging speed, 1.2 megawatt charging speeds. And if you look at the Chinese car market, that's pretty much the future, right? Hydrogen trucks are non-existent in China. Electric trucks, they're literally everywhere. What does that tell you? Well, I think it tells us really the same thing that's happened to passenger cars will happen to trucks as well. So I kind of feel sorry for these companies. Walmart guys, I feel so sorry for you, Walmart, buying all these hydrogen-powered trucks. What an insane decision. I don't care. Couldn't care less. Whoever works at Walmart, they're probably friends with someone working at Nikola. After making this video, I've redone my calculations, and actually I was wrong in the video. It's not a 65% discount. It's actually more than an 80% discount versus the price of this car last year.